Hi, my name is Colin SkipperWing Bird, and welcome to a special subset of SkipperWing Draws a Thing, process videos for the Crimson Fly animated comic strip. So today's strip is actually special for a number of reasons. Number one, it's vertical. Most strips in this video series are going to be horizontal. Number two, it's the first video in this series. And that brings us to our third point. We're essentially starting from the animation portion rather than the conceptual illustration portion. And I'm going to tackle those one at a time. So when I first started doing the Crimson Fly, my initial plan was to have videos of the comic strips debut alongside the interactive comics that are uploaded to Blogspot. And while that was great for helping people have an alternate venue to watch the comics, it also didn't really fill out YouTube's metrics for what makes for a good duration of content. I mean, YouTube asks you to do about 2 to 5 minutes, and I can't do 2 to 5 minutes in a week. I can do about 15 seconds, which gets stretched out to about 45 seconds when you add credits on top of it. So that wasn't really cutting it. However, when speaking with some friends and advisors, we came up with the idea of using a streaming service, open broadcast system, to record the content while I was creating it or streaming it, and then edit those videos together into process videos, which are a lot longer in comparison to the comic strip videos. So that actually brings me to my next point. We're starting in the middle of this strip because I didn't really get this idea until halfway through this strip, and by then the content's already created. I'm not going to redraw the strip just so that this video can have its full duration. So we're starting from the middle with the animation and interactivity programming rather than the illustration part of the comic. This isn't going to be normal to these videos. I'm going to start at the absolute beginning, but this is the first video, and yeah, we're going to go from there. And also that brings us to my last point. This strip is actually vertical because when I conceptualized it, I wanted it to be a sort of perspective flip. The flip goes from the Crimson Fly's point of view to the people at the bottom. I'm not going to spoil their identity because you have to read the strip to find out who they are. But when I tried to do it horizontally, it didn't really work. And in talking with a few friends who I previewed the strip with, because I like to spitball these ideas with friends, they said, well, why don't you just make it vertical? And so I figured, well, I don't want to, because if I make it vertical, then when it goes to print later on, and yes, I do want this to eventually be printed, then it's going to be the odd strip out, whereas everything else is horizontal. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that my friends who I trusted with this idea were right, and that I should probably just bite the bullet, make it vertical now, and then deal with print issues as they come along. So yeah, this strip is vertical. And that's the great thing about webcomics, is that I don't have to be bound to the traditional format of 13 by 4 inches or 11 by 17 or whatever, because it's going to be on the web. The only thing that's important is that it looks good on a computer and that you can see it on a computer, or phone, or tablet, or other mobile device, however you're reading the strip, watching this video. So yeah, this strip is vertical. And I think now getting that out of the way, I can start talking about process. So what I'm doing is both animating and coding at the same time. And the reason for that is that it means that I can both fact check and work at the same time, as opposed to working and then fact checking. And that's a lot easier than animating, then coding, then finding out the timing doesn't work, and then having to recode and reanimate. It's just a giant mess. So it's better to just code and animate at the same time rather than doing one and then the other. And it used to be a lot harder when I was more of a novice than I am at coding, but now I've kind of figured it out. So, or at least for the time being, figured it out. I'm probably going to hopefully get better later. So yeah, new process. Or rather, constantly evolving process. And that's it for today's video. If you want to see this strip in its true format, please click the links in the annotations and cards. If you're new, please like and subscribe for more content. This is Colin SkipperWing Bird signing out. I'll catch you peeps later.